Yeah, but I just had assumed that lady was her.
I cannot hear anybody. I don't know if you guys can hear me, but I can't hear any of you. I am going to try re-signing in. I am sorry, I still cannot hear you.
Test microphone. Yeah. Oh, it's
I
coming
can-
up.
I can hear you now.
Okay, thank you. Perfect.
All right, we can move on now. There are no changes to the agenda. And we will move on to public comment. This time is for the public to address the commissioners on agenda items or other concerns. The board will consider all comments, but typically will not take immediate action. Please state your name and city of residence and limit your comments to 5 minutes. Are there any public comments?
There's no public comment.
Moving on to commissioner action number 3 and number 6. We have the approval of the minutes of the December 11th regular meeting. Can I have a motion?
I make a motion, we approve the minutes of the December 11th, 2024 meeting.
Is there any discussion?
I'll second that motion. And I have no discussion.
All right, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? So the minutes are unanimously approved. So we'll sign them. Yeah, I got two.
Thank you.
And we have 2 sets of vouchers. One for December 23rd and one for today's date. What would you like to? Has everybody had a chance to look both sets over? I have.
Yes. So I'll go ahead and read these off and we'll do a discussion. I was a little confused.
Well, let's discuss it first, but I don't like to have a motion. I don't like the way it's been done at all. I like to know what I'm voting on.
Sure, talk about it first.
Yeah,
That's
So-
questions?
no, are you gonna do questions first?
No, well, discussion, question, same thing.
Yeah, if you had a question about it, let's do it.
Let's
before the
deal
board.
with the question.
I think we had an email from Dawn kind of saying that she was gonna send us a second set. So,
You haven't seen the second set.
Right.
Well, go ahead.
okay, which would be the 1/8.
Mhm.
Um. Actually, I've seen this one, yeah. Maybe it's the older one. So I'm gonna make the motion for both of these, okay?
Fine.
Okay,
Sure.
I make a motion that we approve the, Port of Coupeville voucher approval documents dated 12/23/24. And,
You'll need to give the numbers
Yeah.
for that, yeah.
and the, voucher numbers of that are 24-1228 through 24-1239. And EFT 1204, when that first batch was for $9,194.22. Electronic vouchers, EFT 1204 and 1205, for a total of $17,536.25. A total in this document is $26,730.47. And our voucher approval document dated January the 8th, 2025, for voucher numbers 25-0101 through 25-0123, for a total of $22,794.24. Electronic vouchers, EFT -0101 through EFT -0107, for $27,871.35. And for a total in this voucher document of $50,665.59.
Is there a second?
I think he's adding up numbers. Is there?
Well,
Second
Hmm?
motions as well. You could second the motion as well.
I just remembered, because I didn't write it down, that when I reviewed everything this morning, I find I have a question for Dawn concerning the detailed list of payroll, particularly for the amount paid already to commissioners.
We should do that during discussion.
Well,
We'll approve it.
So I'll second it, so I can ask my question. The commissioner pay for per diems is $161 per day. In this set of vouchers somewhere, there is a payment of $166.35. I'm wondering where the extra $5.35 came from, if that is a per diem payment for December.
Let me see.
We've been regularly paid that $166.35. I don't know where that extra.
it could have been an additional expense and then like a tax deduction coming down, making it similar to 160.
Why is?
Oh, Okay, so Marianne, you guys, the 166.23, the difference is the employer portion of taxes. So when you get a paycheck, your gross is 161, and then there's a tiny bit of employer FICA that is taken out. So Social Security, or I think in your guys' case, it's Social Security and Medicare that's taken out. So that extra $5.23 is the company per se side of taxes.
But it's listed as a commissioner payment. That's confusing to me.
Yeah.
Well,
very-
that's direct payroll, and that's how it's processed through the EFT. When they do a direct payroll, they take out of the checking account not only your pay, but we process the taxes as well.
Okay.
So
Who are the they you just referred to?
The software Intuit, the direct payroll services.
So this is a QuickBooks procedure, is that correct?
Well, whether or not it was a QuickBooks procedure, we would still have to account for all the money that we transferred to the payroll account in order to have direct deposit. So it would still be part of the process.
I understand there's a difference between what's listed as expense
Yeah,
and what's listed in my bank account as a deposit. I understand that difference. I just didn't understand why the court was paying that extra money, and I still find it very confusing.
And we're not on the voucher at all.
I don't see that in the vouchers. That was,
Let me
They
see.
don't show in the vouchers, they show in the detailed list,
okay,
the detailed list.
I'm just trying to follow along with.
And just so I can be on record, I am concerned on the payroll list for commissioners, not for other employees having direct deposit works because they're under contract. I have no problem with that. What I have issues with is the fact that the commissioner compensation is deposited before we have an approval process.
Who approves the commissioner compensation?
Your guys' compensation is already pre-approved with the salary, which is what was paid on
Well,
January 10th. And the reimbursement sheets that you turn in are approved by Chris before he turns them into us.
well, we'll get to that later in the meeting,
Okay,
but I just wanted to know I'm coming.
And this payroll on the 10th is for the one, the salary. And
That makes sense. Anytime it's a salary or
Right.
wages that are under for employees, I understand that. It's
Yeah.
just, that it's difficult to understand, which makes it difficult for me to show any constituent paperwork and have them clearly understand that being a commissioner is not a volunteer job. That's all.
And it's been confusing me in the sense that in our statement for the deposit, it'll list per diem and it'll list salary on that little email that we get from Don's people
Yeah,
about the automatic deposit. But the per diem never shows up here.
it's included in this big category called payroll.
Oh, gosh.
yeah, that's the total that was transferred from the general fund to the payroll checking account so that you guys can have direct deposit.
You have to look at another piece of paper to see the details.
yeah, this is an,
But that aside, the motion's been made and seconded. I'll call for the vote, all in favor.
Both motions, this is
The motion
One
to
motion.
approve,
the 12-3 motion, or 12-3.
the motion that you carefully read out that included all the
Vote.
items for,
single motion, both vouchers.
Right,
that's been made and seconded.
I voted aye.
aye.
Aye, it's unanimous approval. Okay. Financial review, Dawn.
Now, do you want me to share my screen?
I forgot we gotta sign all these.
Yeah, let's do that, Dawn. Hold on a sec.
Okay, so we got that.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, can you see it?
Yeah,
Pretty small.
can you increase the font size at all?
Let me try here. Did that work?
You need to look that smaller. A bit smaller.
Sorry.
Stand closer.
Let's see.
That's better, a little better. I think if you made that biggest windows, there you go.
Getting there now.
Cause it fills the screen with the biggest window, fills our screen with that biggest window, Port of Coupeville QuickBooks.
How does that work? Is that better?
Better.
Let's see. Oh, hey, I can zoom it here. Does that work?
Yeah, there you go. Now you're getting there.
Maybe one more?
One more, yeah. Put a 200. Give her all you got, Scotty.
There we go.
There you go.
You're welcome. I'm learning new tricks. This report is as of November 30th, and it is reconciled with the treasurer's office. And right now we have a total of $2,693. So the $2,693,783. And a little over 2 million of that is in the investment fund. And as you can see down here for the general fund, we have increased the investment funds to 800,000 for the end of the year. I made the final deposit transfer. This will, both of these reflect what was projected in our budget, in the final budget that was submitted. And let's see here, other than that, everything else is good.
Projected in which budget, which year?
For 2000 and by the end of 2024 and for the beginning of 2025, we projected to have 2,039,000 in the investment IDD fund, and then we had projected to increase the general fund investment fund to 800,000. It was submitted on the small budget form that's turned into the county and to the state.
So that's a firm number. That's not a
Yes.
guess.
Yeah, that's not a guess. That's when I give you December's reports, those two numbers will still be there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's see here. One thing I wasn't sure because this was kind of last minute in giving you these reports for this period, but for the grants, we have a total as of the end of November, almost $2 million has been received in grant funds. I just thought that was kind of a nice number to see for all the work that has been done this year and how much.
All
Yes.
grants, including broadband.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. The biggest one was, of course, the piles and caps, which is the $730,000.
For last year, we spent more than that in previous years.
Yes, correct. Yeah. But that was what was received for this year. So I just thought that was a fun number. There is going to be a little bit more in December, and it will be, I believe what I saw was 1,199,000. And but we're supposed to be receiving more funds than that. The broadband representative was out most of December, so there are a few submissions that did not get processed before year end. So we should be getting those deposits either in January or February. Don't really have much else. Everything looks really good, where our projections are right on. I don't expect too much more tax funds to be coming in as far as the property taxes are concerned. We'll have obviously some rollover, which we always do for the past years within the first 3 months, but we will not see too much more come in until April. It just kind of trickles in until then at this point.
Everything looks good until you start paying all the bills.
Yeah, Well, we've had some big ones the end of December that you'll be seeing on the reports as well, with our project that it's finished, I believe, isn't it? With the wharf, the envelope.
We're 98%.
Okay, yeah.
Is there anything online for the farm?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So we'll hear about that later.
I can add it in.
But as far as everything else, all of the year-end payroll processing has been completed. All the tax liabilities, the W-2s have been processed. You might have received them in the mail already because we mailed them out last week. Let's see.
You know, that last week?
We mailed them out on either the 2nd or 3rd.
I thought we were gonna wait until we got our extensions.
Some of the employees will be getting them in their reimbursement checks that they get
Okay.
this next week, but most of them have been mailed.
Like 1099 for us.
Yeah.
No, yours is a W-2. But yeah.
But it's like that. It's your income. Should be seen.
So all of that has been done. The only thing that I did not do was the Department of Revenue. Other than once I have that done, then everything for 2024 will be completed until I receive the final treasury reports, which sometimes I don't get until about April. Because after they do their audits, there's usually adjustments and stuff that they give us on their end. So, and then once I get those final reports, then I'll be able to do the annual report. But next, at the end of the month, the voucher run, you will see the final Department of Revenue for 2024. I didn't run those because we have not received the initial December treasurer's reports yet, and I kind of don't like to process those liabilities until the account is reconciled. So once that's received, I will process those and they'll be finished.
I see a question.
Mhm.
Under commissioner compensation, what are these reimbursement numbers about?
Well, those are in case anybody had any mileage to be reimbursed, education seminars, that kind of thing, but nobody, I believe nobody had any this year.
There's like an entry and then it's removed.
Well, this is the line item right here that has,
Okay, this is P and L. That was used for
This
this.
is budget versus actual. Correct.
Okay.
yeah.
So they.
Got it.
Budget.
Got it.
So
From the small print.
Yeah, it got small again, Don.
Oh, sorry. Oh, here we go. Let's see what happens here. Oh, okay. I'm not sure if I like that.
Yeah.
Oh, sure, I understand.
Miles.
I understand.
Yeah.
There just wasn't any distance.
Yeah.
I get it.
We're staying home.
It's the fault of small print. Thank you.
You're welcome. Does this work?
Yeah, that looks better,
Okay.
but.
Oh, boy, that looks a lot better.
Yeah, so nobody had any reimbursements this year. So
Thank you.
you're welcome.
All right, I think we can move on then to our executive director report number 8.
Thank you, Don. All right.
You're
for the
welcome.
project, as you know. it
Happy
takes-
New Year, by the way, everybody.
Happy New Year.
There has been. Let me get out of this real quick. There's been no movement on the broadband project right now, with Zipley. They are, still reviewing the last rendition of the IRU. So I think we'll be able to solve, the few remaining points, because they were small. I just think they're in over their head right now with everything going on and all this BEAD funding coming down the pipe, and I'll mention that here in a little bit. But right now, we're just kind of waiting for them. I follow up with them probably every week and a half. Hey, Chris, where are we at? And she's like, we'll get to it. We're just really in over our heads right now.
And
So
they were acquired by a huge Canadian.
they
telecom.
were,
So there
yeah,
might be,
Yeah.
I'm sure there's
Yeah.
things going on internally.
I'm sure,
A
yeah.
lot bigger than us.
Yeah, they've assured us that that's not gonna affect the project,
Yeah,
but you
that's
never
what I've
know,
heard too,
right?
yeah.
You never know.
Question, so at one point, we got a map. Are we coming out of the ability to go ahead and show the public that map of where?
Not yet, not yet. I want to do that, John. But until once we sign the IRU, we'll put it out there. Because there's 345 addresses on that cluster that they're gonna be building out to. So once we sign the IRU, then we know we're actually legally going forward. And yes, we'll ship all of that.
So.
But are you-
Put it on the
we know
website.
where-
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
We have the money on the.
Oh, yeah. I've been in contact with Mark.
Are you
and
aware?
others.
Do you see the map? Do you see where all those addresses are? Because I'm curious if they are in a clump or scattered.
They
all
are,
over.
they're in the northeast section of our build area. And they're not like completely concentrated, but they're in a, it was smart how they did it. They picked an area, they already have infrastructure. It's copper. And they are going after an area that is manageable and it's cost effective to do it. So I got bummed that Mark and, and those addresses, and as well as others, but I'll get to that here in a second when I talk
Okay,
about
thank
the.
you.
But, so right now it's just we're just kind of waiting, we're waiting for them to look at the IRU and move it forward. As far as BEAD funding, I've been working with Cody at the Island County. And we've had several customers that, community members who were originally in the build area and then fell out of that build area because of all this. And so what's happening right now is he and I are working closely together to come up with the list of addresses in our original build area that are not going to be served in this 345.
Mhm.
And it's gonna take some Excel scraping, and he's really good at it, so he agreed that he would do it and help me get that list, because remember, we started out with 1,043,
Mhm.
and then 35 addresses roughly were not true addresses. So it came up to like 1,008. By the time, over the 3-year process from start to finish that we started this, over 600 of those addresses got served. Yay, good thing, right? They got served. Which left like 300 and some odd addresses left over that were left in our original build area.
Do you know who served those?
It would either be, well, you're a perfect example. You had
Oh,
a
yes.
Snout come in, right? Was it Snout or Zipley? I forget.
The staff.
Simply, we had a sound already for many years. And
But then Zipley came in and provided fiber to you, and that was just last year.
yeah,
That's a perfect
it
example.
was this year.
Well, 2024.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
right. So you're a perfect example of those addresses that during the course of our process to get this going, got served.
Both Simply and Would-Be Tell are moving all the time.
Yes, they are, because they're both building out there.
They
So,
sure
and
are.
so is the stamp. So we're in the process now of, okay, we've got our 345 addresses that were in our original list. But now we got these addresses that were gonna get served by our original 1,043. That a portion of them were left off of the BEAD funding. And now Cody and I are working together to get all those addresses together, such as Mark's and some other community members I talked to, and get them on that list for BEAD funding. So that's what we're doing right now.
As a person seeing it all on the ground, literally with Simply coming in, it would appear to me that these 300 plus places that are on our list are not being served directly now by a corporation because they're waiting to see if the grant will pay much of their expense to do that. The installation expense would be due to the curb grant money that we are getting and not their own money. Because when Simply came to my neighborhood, there was no federal money paying for their expense to do so,
Well, technically it is Public Works Board, not Curb.
whatever.
Okay, and then also,
State broadband office.
yeah, state broadband office, two grants. And then the interesting thing is that Public Works Board, I attended a meeting and pitched that, because of increased cost, they keep our grant amount the same, and they agreed to that. So we didn't get chopped just because the other ones are building out there. We still get 4.8 million.
Yeah, you see,
Now the question becomes, does that allow us to go into some of these fringe areas?
No, what do you mean allow? Like add on to the 345?
Well, no, I really understood the map originally.
Yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
map was kind of like, here again, not here, don't share it, it's in flux and all like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the build map is.
Okay, so what's gonna happen is, and you're right, is we were very fortunate to. There's a lot of factors. We're very fortunate, to do the short version, we're very fortunate to at least come up with 345 underserved or non-served community members. We kept our two funding sources at the same level, which virtually guarantees that we are gonna be able to completely fund those 345. And you know what? There actually may be some funds left over at the end of this. Those funds will most likely be given back into the pool, okay, and maybe put towards BEAD funding. But the 345, that change of scope has already been presented and locked in by the Public Works Board. And the state broadband office has accepted that. So at this point, our sole target is the 345 through ZIP. Now, coinciding with this is we gotta capture all of the remaining addresses out there and get them in the BEAD funding. And that's what Cody and I are working on getting that done.
The original 1043, for example, doesn't include anyone on my street, and none of them have fiber. So like, why are you trying to go back to some list of addresses that we started with 5 years ago? Why not start from all of the addresses in the Port of Coupeville boundaries and figure out who doesn't have broadband? Try to include.
Well, but there's multiple things going on at once. You have Wibby Till going up the island. Right?
Yeah.
They're in this area, they're building in this area. We have fiber here. You have Zipley doing the same thing and Astound doing the same thing.
Yeah, so what is the significance of the 1043 that we
Because
found 4 years ago?
Because that was Skagit Nets, when they did their study, coming off of the study that was done even earlier than that.
Yeah, it's old data, is what I'm saying.
It's all data, right? So
Old data.
what's happening?
Yeah.
Well, now it's
Now it's
old,
Why
but
are we going back to that? And why is Cody scrubbing that list? What's the significance of those addresses?
because that was our original funding list.
Yeah, but that's not a current list. Why do we need to use those addresses?
That'd be a question to ask her, that'd be a question asked to Public Works Board. When we applied for the grant, we got the grant based on the 1,043. Period.
Yeah,
Then we
they've
gotta-
approved the change to 345.
Right, because that's all that Zipley was gonna do. They're like, nope, this is what we're gonna go after. We're not going after any other
I
addresses.
understand that.
Yeah,
But now you're talking about working with Cody and looking at the 700 remaining addresses. Why are you choosing those addresses to look
Some of
at?
those have been served. Of those seven.
no,
Big question, are we paying for this reassessment of the?
no, we're just not paying anything. No.
So,
I'm trying to-
the grant were paid to go back to the original number? Or reassessment?
I had a question to Chris and you just interrupted.
I'm so sorry, I thought you were.
So Lauren, I guess, I wanna make sure I understand.
Yeah,
When we got our original PWD funding,
Yeah.
it was based on the 1,043, you know that, right? We can't just go and say, we don't want the 1,043, we want to change it all up and massage the boundaries and all of that. Because the grant was based on it. So what we did was, we said, look, we can't build 1,043.
yeah,
We can only build these 345, we need to do what's called change scope.
yeah.
Well, unfortunately, this came after all of the BEAD entries were made.
Uh-huh.
Out of all this funding that got shut out by the PWD and the state broadband office, here are the ones that weren't covered by that. They go into this BEAD program. Well, this thing was so delayed, Martin, that all of a sudden now, by the time we get around to actually getting this thing done, people have been served, the bead funding has submitted its list. And it's like, there are people that are in this gap now that are underserved or non-served and aren't on the bead list right now.
So because we originally got that grant with these addresses, they got
1,043.
excluded from future funding consideration.
Yes,
And
because
we're
they
trying
were,
to get them back.
we're trying to get them back in the
into-
bead fund.
Just make it known to the funders that we're not gonna serve those addresses.
Yes, that is correct.
But the funders approved our new lists, so shouldn't they already have that?
They only
information?
approved the 300. Well, yes, well, no, they don't, because everyone, of the addresses were submitted
Yeah,
for the bead funding.
yeah,
The date to finalize that has come and gone, but it's not finalized yet. So what the port's doing is working with Island County, say, wait, hold up, guys. Because our project got delayed, because we had a change of scope, because there was progress. And then we had to reduce our change of scope, there are addresses that aren't gonna get on the speed list.
okay.
We need them on.
So just to make
And
sure
so-
that those people are eligible for,
Yeah.
so the B knows that we're not planning to serve them.
That is correct. Yeah, that is correct. You got it. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so,
But that just triggers a thought. The Zipley IRU I don't think has anything to do with addresses, does it? Or does it?
well, it's geared towards the 345 addresses out of our original 1,043.
But is the actual list like an addendum to the IRU? Did the IRU, when we sign the IRU, does it contain the lists?
Of 1,043?
No, of the
345,
345.
yes.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah. And
So
they've
it's
already
tied to
submitted a
that.
budget for those 345.
yeah, the budget
And
and
they've already
everything
submitted a budget.
is specific
Yeah.
to the 345.
That's all we're building is out of the original 1,043, which I think, again, 32 were null. I think it was 1,008, I forget how it works. We're gonna end up building 345 of those addresses. Because most of them got served.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, some didn't, and now we wanna try to capture those.
Okay, I'm gonna scoot your weight from Mary Ann just a little bit here, so he doesn't kill me. And ask the question,
Yeah,
should the port be applying for an additional grant from somebody? For areas that aren't under contention with the IRU we're working on?
Well, that's what the bead funding is for.
Uh-huh.
And that would be, an actual ISP.
Right.
Not
Like would we tell that we would have, maybe not then, but
like Zipley.
anybody, should we be trying to get grant money to fill in areas that are not under discussion right
And
now?
that's
Not
what
us.
Cody at Island County is working on for the whole
That
county.
is correct. Yes, he sent an
it's
email
already
out
been working.
That's why he's trying to make sure that our list is up to date.
and the marks of, the Barbies of the world get on that bead list. That is correct. That is absolutely correct.
But the port,
Okay.
there's no, so you're saying
wouldn't
this
apply for
new
bead
bead funding is eligible for the ISPs to apply direct? So they don't
Correct.
need to use us. They don't want us to be
No,
involved.
I think they would need to use us, and that's the part I get a little fuzzy, so I'm not gonna, I'm gonna
But
say, I think before I give that answer.
Cody Bach.
Oh, yes.
With Island County.
Yeah, but, yeah.
He would know. He's kind of the expert.
Yes, absolutely. Well, he sent an email out to everyone on BAT, the
Yeah.
broadband action
Yeah,
team,
okay.
saying, hey, here's the letter, you fill in your ISP name, towards BEAD. So
Yeah.
they're pushing, they're working. I'm trying to work with him to make sure that no one is left behind. And that's what the port's doing, right? Even though we may not serve those, we want those community members to be served. So that's why I'm working to get this list scrubbed and updated. And then I gotta turn that Excel spreadsheet around as soon as he gets it to me and get it right over to a list of people at the department. And we've already got that strategy set, so.
And trying to think of which meeting I attended. WSB, maybe that in a person from NTIA, National Telecommunications, blah, 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 the federal person.
Yeah.
He blew everybody in attendance at that meeting and said, get creative. get it done, nobody left behind,
Yeah,
you know, make it happen.
so we have 5 minutes to our executive session.
Yes.
Okay. So there are people in this whole process, expecting people like the port. She was talking to a lot of port people that were on that meeting,
We're the conduit.
get creative.
Maybe you can get a meeting with Cody and pick his brain and make sure he knows all the stuff you know. And are you in contact with him?
No. I tried to be at one time and, county administrator canceled my meeting with.
Oh, because he's not supposed to meet with electeds?
No, he can meet.
So,
He was responsive to me,
he's no longer.
but the county administrator's not resigned, so
He resigned.
maybe try again now.
Another time.
No, he's wonderful. He's a very knowledgeable person.
Yeah, I've been working with him a little.
Yeah. So,
I get to say something.
yeah.
As the person on the ground who has seen what construction looks like, it is not as wonderful and easy procedure as it may sound in discussions. Secondly, what we are providing is the option for these addresses to
Yes.
it sounds like we're giving things away and we're not.
No, we're not.
Simply, but I'm talking to people who listen and pay
Yeah.
attention.
Yeah.
It sounds like we're giving away high-speed Wi-Fi. We
Yeah.
are not.
No.
We are only providing through a government grant the opportunity for people to buy into the wonderful flyers they received
Yeah,
when somebody
Yep.
comes by their house.
because it's so expensive to build out internet to their house.
Yes, because where they live is a long driveway
Exactly.
Right.
or a long road, and they don't wanna readjust their own budgets to get what
Yep.
their
And
beautiful.
that's the only reason the government's involved, is to just subsidize it a little bit, but it's not gonna be free internet.
No, it's, and the subsidy is to the corporations
That's
to
right.
provide. The
Right.
subsidy is not to the individual.
Yeah.
And that can be easily misunderstood.
Yeah, and that is also kind of frustrating to people, I
Oh,
understand.
it's very difficult, and then you get this wonderful option for a year or two. And those who have bid and then get to year 3, find out it wasn't as inexpensive as they had hoped.
Yeah,
That's all. That's all, it's like, it's business.
yeah.
It's business and it's individual choice.
Sure.
That's all I wanted to say. Thank you. Thank you all for clarifying a lot of these
We've
issues.
got 2 more minutes, I had one more unrelated comment about broadband, but the map, we're keeping of this 345, we're keeping it confidential. It's already been presented to the Public Works Board. Was
Yes.
that in an open meeting?
Yeah, if someone wants to go and get a public records request, they can.
Then what?
It's not really a map, it's a list of addresses.
Well, the list, why,
Yeah,
why do we need to keep it
so
confidential?
think if I went out there and put a big PR campaign about the 1043 in the beginning, how disappointing would that be to those people?
So just to make sure if the IRU doesn't go through.
I don't wanna be giving out.
We don't
false
want
promises. That's why, from the beginning, I said no. I would,
Okay, fair
when
enough.
people like Mark or others would be like, hey, this is really important to us, I'd be like, look, here's where you are right now, but I always made it clear in the emails or a conversation, this is not filed, please don't bet money on this. And I'm glad I didn't, right? Because it didn't come out.
Yeah, right,
And that's why I don't wanna make it public yet. When the IRU signed, it'll go on the website.
okay. got it.
Yeah,
That's
and
fine.
honestly, when the IRU sign, Zipley will be sending out cards to those 345 addresses
Yeah.
in the mail. We're coming.
So there's
Right,
no
so-
future IRUs in our, down the road that we should be thinking about with.
Besides the one we're
money's
working
gonna be
on,
left over, potentially left over, Public Works Board.
that conversation hasn't been had yet, as far as if there's money left over, what happens to that? And again, for the beat funding, it would have to be a Zipley or an Astound or Liberty Telecom that have to come in, apply for that funding and partner with the board.
And Would-Be Tel has their own grant, and they
They're
are
building
now,
up the island, they're going off, yeah, so.
well, they're now building in Ledgewood. They are now,
Right.
so
Right.
they've got money still to put
There's,
in
and loans,
and loans.
I think we're at time here.
Yes, it's time for our.
so, you wanna go ahead and read the executive session and you guys.
You wanna read?
All right. We are now breaking for an executive session. For RCW 4230-110. We will be discussing with legal counsel representing our agency matters relating to enforcement actions or to discuss with our legal counsel representing the agency litigation or potential litigation to which the agency, the governing body, or a member acting in an official capacity is or likely to become a party when public knowledge regarding this discussion is likely to result in an adverse legal or financial consequence to the agent, so the public is no longer part of our meeting.
So hold on one second. Let's send you in there, Seth. So we have come out of the executive session at 11:03 AM.
And we are currently in a recess,
And we are
a
currently,
comfort recess, and we will reconvene shortly.
the details unpunched. Okay, and then Mary Ann will pick up on 8.2.
Great.
Yes. Oh, it's, okay, well, that is so needed.
Okay, our recess is finished and we are now back in session. Part of Coupeville, January 8th. We are now at number 8.2, the wharf envelope repair project. Over to Chris.
Yeah, so we're about that 98% mark done. They are going through a punch list of final items. One of the things that we will be doing is, and it'll happen later in the year when it gets a little warmer, probably April, is we are going to be putting 2 more coats of paint on the building. We are gonna switch from a flat to a satin. We wanted to kind of keep the original finish, by going with a flat. Yeah, my bad. A flat paint in a marine environment just didn't work out very well for us. And it was great because we had a chance to look at the color. We thought, no, let's go back to that iconic red. So we're gonna go back, because that flat did come out a little more orangey. So we are gonna do a little change order, which I was authorized to do. And we are going to put 2 more coats, which is awesome. That'll be 4 coats of paint on that building. And we're gonna go to a satin finish with a, what was the official, oh, we made our own color. It's gonna be Coupeville Wharf Red, right? Oh, wow. Historic Wharf Red. We have our own color with Sherwin-Williams, and it's beautiful. So I don't think we have we don't have a sample of it here, do we? Sure, okay. So we painted the buildings with several different color combinations. And what's great is this is gonna match 24 Front Street as well. So we're really excited about that. We're gonna be meeting on Monday with the engineer, the architect, and the construction company to go over the final punch list of things. They're little things, but they're things that need to be corrected. And we are looking to wrap this up probably in the next 30 days. I guess minus painting, which will take place further down the road. So if you haven't been out there, the building looks amazing. If you haven't seen our newsletter and the pictures that Susan posts on it of the before and after of the walls, that is just a very impactful photograph. The building looks amazing, just absolutely incredible. So that's the repair project. Any questions on the?
I think it's beautiful and it's gonna get even better with a better color.
Yes, it will.
And because it's pretty dull now.
Yeah.
And the way I see it is the improvements we've been able to make to the Coupeville Wharf on Front Street is the new face of the operational side of the Port of Coupeville, which I personally am very welcome that I can provide a new face starting now with how well the board is doing and how positive we are about our history.
Here.
Yeah, it's a happy project now.
So question, do we use that same color here on the barn?
Yeah, I'm adding an 8.5 for Martin and
That
you
would
guys
be
as well.
wonderful.
Yeah, that's gonna be our universal color, because the whole idea was the barns and the wharf were all painted with the same, basically the same color paint, right?
Yeah,
It was nice old Navajo red at that point. But yes, no, there'll be a uniformity. In fact, there's other things we're looking at, such as the boxes on the causeway that cover our valves on each side of, that'll all be done with the same roofing material that we have on the wharf now, be painted with the same color as the wharf. And those are all gonna be rebuilt as well in a separate project. So yes, it'll all be tied in together. Yeah,
well, I do, just hit me a question based on my own limitations of mobility. There are no benches along the pier either.
No,
No
no.
places to rest.
so that is.
I understand.
In the
In the
back.
back. there.
I'm talking about getting there.
Walk, yeah.
Once I'm there, I'm good. It's getting there. And I understand there's a difficulty providing places to sit to the
Yeah.
public. I understand the demographics and our problems with that. But I'm just curious, is there any chance of ever getting a bench or two along the pier?
No, there's a reason why. Number one, we have to keep there's two sections of that causeway. You got one that has for emergency vehicles, cannot put any bench in that way there.
Hmm,
Because there's barely enough room for an ambulance and a fire truck to get down there.
right, but the walkway part.
But the walkway is only about this wide, and to put a bench,
Ah,
you have to be ADA compliant. We want to be able to have wheelchairs get through there, so it'd be
Yeah.
very difficult to do.
okay, just a question.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Thank you.
Catapult, just.
I've got a.
Or a ski lift. Any other questions on the envelope repair?
Good.
Martin, anything? Okay, then. All right, so the bulkhead repair. That was gonna start tomorrow. Mary has been working very hard and trying to push these permits through, and it only cost us one mitigation point, which again, this is all being paid by Honduras, so we were able to go through, get all the permitting, we had the fish forage survey done. It was all falling into place, and then, as right now, the barge is on its way out, I think today or tomorrow. And the Corps had written us this morning saying that they now want a cultural plan for archaeology. So Mary is working with someone who did our fuel tank
Hmm,
project that knows someone at the Corps, so they can talk their language and say, I don't think this is necessary for this. So there was hooray, celebration up until about 9 o'clock this morning, and now we're just like, oh man. So we'll keep you posted on what's going on, but hopefully those two can talk and come to an understanding, and these guys can still come out and get to work. Because everything else is in place.
No,
And as of February, this will be 1 year since that happened. It's just how slow the wheels turn in some government processes, but either way, just so you know, this is an insurance claim and Honduras has already paid a bulk of the cost up front. But there have been costs along the way, little things such as fence rentals, all of the permitting, all those fees, and all that will be turned in. We paid for it along the way, but it'll all be turned in for reimbursement to Honduras. That's where I'm with the bulkhead. I'll send an email out, as well as there'll be social media tomorrow, depending on how today goes with these conversations. Any questions on the bulkhead? And that also includes, by the way, the stairs to the beach on 24 Front Street, the sand eroded underneath that platform that the support beam for the walkway sits on. All that is going to be rebuilt. It's all a part of the project, because all that sand washed away and left that exposed. So they're going to go in there and pump cement and build all that back up. So that's super cool.
okay, so that's grant paid, not insurance paid.
That's all insurance paid. It was all from the same storm, all from the same result, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, a lot of our material got deposited underneath Vale's building. You could see it the next day, it was all piled up underneath his building.
so I do have a question. How prompt is Honduras in
They're
making?
fantastic,
Okay,
they're very quick,
I know there have been.
because they want to close the claim.
Right, I know that there have been, conversation by the board in the past about the cost of our insurance with Honduras.
Mhm.
What's the dollar amount? Do you have that at the edge of your?
The yearly premium?
The yearly
Annual premium,
premium.
100,000 or something.
it's 122,000, but I don't, please don't quote me on that, but it was over 120,000. It's, when I got here, it was 24 and then got raised to 40 something or whatever it was. And I was like, what? But you understand, they also sent back an analysis of why, and I sent that along to you guys. We have a lot of money in claims, you know,
That's why I'm, and they're prompt.
they're very prompt.
Doris has a fabulous reputation.
They do, and I will back that up because I work with them. Karen will get a hold of me almost on a monthly basis. Where you at, Chris? Like to get this closed out. I mean, they want to pay, they want to get the thing off the books.
So if you compare the premium to the payments they've made for our claim amount,
Mhm.
has that been done? Has it,
Oh.
those simple dollars?
Like over the last 10 years or something?
We would have to go over a time period and do all that, but the email that was done last year, I don't know when next year. Maybe it was end of 23 when I was going through the renewal. They had, hey, here's how many dollars you've paid out in this time period and so forth. I mean, I can ask for the analysis, but face it, insurance is going up everywhere.
Yeah, I understand, but I'm just saying, it shouldn't be that hard to total the claims for a year compared to the premium for a year.
Oh, you just want to do it for this year?
I don't care what year. I'm just saying that people are, oh my God, you're paying over $100,000 for insurance. Yes, but they've paid X in claims.
You know,
So,
Yeah, but every year you hopefully don't have a disaster.
yeah,
Well,
we've had a lot.
you have to do it for each year. I'm just saying that it's a reasonable, simple bit of information.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I
I mean, Don presented the P and L, you can look through it. Probably get it from there.
okay.
Maybe.
You do a lot of research.
Well, I
over here.
think, you know,
We could ask Don.
Honduras does a lot of ports, cooling claims.
It is a pool, that is correct.
It's an insurance pool.
We have
Our
a,
premium is set by how many total claims they get from the whole
Right.
pool.
That's a fact.
it's probably one of the factors. Here's another factor too, as I was going through this learning curve and this research process with this other company, is if you looked at our buildings and our properties a year ago, 2 years ago, they're in bad shape,
Mhm.
right? So it's high risk. Now look at them. As far as the wharf, completely rebuilt the wharf,
New piles and
new
caps,
piles and caps, new
if
walls,
something
new
would
roof,
collapsed or something, that would.
new dock.
Yeah.
All new dock planks when we get done. You know, if the building is solid,
Yeah,
and we're also working on the farm too. We're gonna be doing new roofs on barn A and B this year. We're looking to paint both barns. We're putting in a road, half of it right now, we're working on it right now. To get the one out there to Mark's property done. So the property, they're being renewed and being rehabilitated, which actually looks good for an insurance company, less risk, right? Can't prevent the meteor from hitting it, but we know now that the roof's not gonna collapse at the wharf.
And we
So-
hope that other ports are doing the same, because it's a pool.
Yeah. So anyways, it's a good question, but yep, so it's gone up consistently every year. They explain why, and we have had a lot of natural claims, honestly. They've all been from wind and tide and Mother Nature. You really think about it, except for one lady that was shuffling her feet and got a splinter in her toe.
Mm.
You know, so, okay, any other questions on the bulkhead? We'll keep you posted on what happens. Okay, the dock repair, I'm being lit up right now with text messages, so I'll have more information after the meeting. But we are submitting the permitting to JARPA, where the design of the dock has already been done, as you guys, I think I've sent that to you. And we're just kind of in that permitting stage right now. We are not gonna be expanding the footprint, we're not changing where the piles are gonna be, it's all going to steel piles, obviously a brand new dock with braiding that allows sunlight through, there has to be a 50% sunlight penetration rate. With these new standards, so no more wood dock. But this dock also has to be engineered specifically for our conditions, because we're not in a marina, it's really calm, we are in open waters, basically.
Mm.
Everything is moving along with,
Most docks are in a marina and they're
Yeah.
protected,
they're protected.
so we're exposed to more rough seas.
We're exposed to more rough seas, that's exactly right, we get pounded. So, and that's why we lose floats at every windstorm. We lost 3 in the last one. You know, that's another, the other claims we've been putting in too. We lose floats, we put them in duress, we get new floats. We
And they
didn't even,
could, those floats could damage somebody's yacht.
they
and
could,
We could have a claim for that too, so.
they actually could. Thankfully, there are 2 locations after a storm. Danielle waits about a day, walks out, there they are. So we typically recover them, and then we, you know, if we can't reuse them, we just take them to the dump. So, the dock repair is moving forward. I'll know more after today. But that's in the permitting process. Our goal is either to have it done by May of this year, or we'll pick it up and have it done and start it in September. I'm thinking realistically more September because they have to build the dock itself. And again, you never know with permitting, right? We are gonna be pulling out wood. We're replacing it with steel, which is actually a good thing. We have mitigation points already banked from our pile and cap project because we submitted a mitigation plan and actually pulled out more wood than we thought we were. And so I'm really hopeful that we will not be facing a huge or even a mitigation invoice like we did on the wharf, which is over $30,000. So things are looking really good so far. But now they'll speed up a little bit depending on where the permit is. So that's for the dock. And then I'd like to talk about the Green Bank Farm. We have 3 projects that we're working on right now. Mary's driving those as well with help from Murray, is the pond. We've run into a snag with Island County. They're claiming that we have a blue heron, we're in a blue heron nesting area.
That's just a statute.
I know, I told them, you sent them a picture, see, look, it doesn't move. They're claiming they do these overlays. We don't think the overlays are correct, but we are trying, or Mary is trying to find a biologist to do a study to finalize the permit. All other things, the cultural, all of that has already fallen into place. So again, permitting, one of the port's biggest challenges, permitting, is finding a biologist to come in and do this study with the blue heron, and then we can, and Mary's already been in contact with DAP and Island County, and it just, you know, we finally had called a Zoom meeting with the key decision makers, Island County. Now we know what we need to do, so we'll put this moving forward.
Or people would know if there were blue herons nesting there.
Of course.
If people walk around the whole pond, 20 people a day.
They're saying there's a blue heron nest. I'm
Don't
telling you,
they
there's no blue
nest
heron
in
nest.
trees?
I don't know.
They do, they nest in trees.
And there's a huge wetland right there. I would assume that would be much more appealing.
This doesn't even affect the wetland. Yeah, it's just, they have these overlay maps. And they were saying the pond was, what did they say the pond was? The garden and but the pond itself, it's a man-made pond,
Huh,
was what do they call that? Yeah, so we're like, there's no fish. We have no one fishes.
well,
So it's just,
what about Audubon Society? I mean, I've gone to presentations and I saw one fly away from its nest in a big tree.
well, that's our challenge right now, is finding a biologist. We've actually, you know, contacted with the Camino Land Trust. Mary's trying to track down biologists from the MRSC listing. So again, it's just permitting, but that's where we are with the pond project. Obviously, this is a project that we want to work on in the wintertime only because of all our events going on. Because at one point that parking lot's going to be torn up, putting in that new sediment filter and then laying all that pipe along the south end so we can actually drain the pond and divert the water, you know, it's gonna be really super cool. It'll be set up for generations to come to maintain that pond correctly. So that's where we are. When we get movement on the permits, then we will definitely let you know. We are going to execute 1/2 of the project that we put in the capital fund for access roads from ag. We want to tackle the one over here off of Juan Road first, because that road is just getting torn up.
Yeah.
And Mark's now trying to come around, he goes through our cones, just tears up the grass area going out there. So we're actually getting bids for that, and we're gonna do that one first. This one here doesn't seem to be as
Not as urgent.
it's not as urgent, and we even talked to some of the farmers, Mary's talked to some of the farmers, and they're like, no, it's not as bad. That's still on the plan, but we want to get this one done first. We're actually trying to move on that one right now to get that done. And then we are soliciting bids for barn A and barn B's complete roof replacement. So those will be done as separate projects. And barn A will include all of it, except for the overhang section, the walkway section, it's that flat rubber roof. We are gonna have a second project, capital project, that I like to see that whole thing taken out and put back as the same shape as barn A roof. So instead of a flat roof, they bring one in and just kind of build it up like this. And that'll take an engineer and some construction. We looked into an engineer and Murray got a bid for that and it was like crazy $70,000 or it's a 35,000 just to design it. And we're like, no, we'll go to a construction company that can design it.
I thought previously you were talking about having our own guys repair that.
Yeah, we are right now planning on us doing the demo. To take it all down. If we were going to keep it the same, a flat roof, we could actually demo it down. Take off the roof, replace all the substructure, then hire a roofing company to come in. Because they have to be certified in seaming that rubber together, where we can't do it. If we wanna keep a flat roof. But I don't think any of us want that flat roof anymore. And it'd be nice if when you look at it, the roof is kind of shaped like the barn and it's got more headroom.
It's kind of dark under there now.
Yes, exactly. So we're kind of excited about that. So that's what we're already getting bids for that. And then Mary will put a bid together. We'll go out and utilize IDD funds to get that going this year. We'd like to have that completed this year. We'd like to get it done before May when the events start to crack and happen. I imagine that barn A will probably take about a week to 2 weeks to get done. It's a big area to do, and then barn B would probably take a week at the most. But we want to get that done before the events start. If not, we'll wait till after the summer and hit it in September. And then that's it for the farm right now.
Oh, I've got a couple questions.
Sure.
What happened to the water, the septic, and the electrical service in barn A?
So septic, we're not moving on right now because it's operating, it's doing fine.
How bad what problems have existed with the current septic system? And has it ever been upgraded from what was here when the farm was?
No,
built?
it was installed. It wasn't a commercial septic system. It's still because of the low, especially now since the pie kitchen is really just, he's reduced the operation just making dough. They're not baking, they're not doing things there anymore like they used to. The cafe is, as you see, is not an extensive menu like China. So the use of that has been down. It has been suggested by Stonebridge that we go to a commercial septic, and it's about 80 grand to do it. But honestly, the 7.5 years that I've been here, the only issue we ever had was one of the 2 pumps that sits at the bottom of the tank by barn A came off its stand, and they quickly fixed it. So we have no issues. It suggests that we go to a commercial tank, and when I look at the more historic needs of the farm, such as access roads, barn A, B, and we gotta start working on barn C because it's showing its wear and tear. I want to get those tackled first this year.
Why did you bring up the septic? Did something happen?
Nothing's happened.
It's been mentioned and mentioned over the
Are you
years.
sure you're not thinking about the wharf? Because we had an issue with the wharf set. We wanted to
No, I've
fix
been
that.
thinking about the farm
Okay,
because I personally have a septic system for my home.
sure.
And I know that they occasionally have problems and if we're holding events with large numbers of people, I know we rent portable toilets, is that correct?
That is correct. That is
And
correct.
this septic system just serves the barn A.
We have 4 septics.
Okay.
Yeah, we have 4 septics that all connect and then go over the hill into the drain field.
Oh,
We're what's called a loss system. We're one of 72 in the state of Washington. Don't quote me on the number.
so it's just the tanks are there and the pumps, and then the drain field is all.
Yeah, that's over the hill that you and I were talking
Yeah,
about.
I never
I
heard
don't
that.
think I realized.
Yeah, we're a loss. It's called a large on-site sewage system. So
Okay.
all four of our septics connect together.
So like holding tanks, 4 holding tanks and
Four
separate
septic tanks.
system.
Actually,
Septic
yeah,
tanks.
and then they all come together and then pump up over the hill into the settling tanks, then goes out to your leach lines.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's,
four.
there's four.
Barn C.
There's here, barn C, barn A, and shares B, and then the caretaker cottage. And we don't pump out the caretaker cottage
And
anymore.
Barn
so no.
City has restrooms, individual for each
Yes.
unit.
Well,
Which brings up the question of both electrical and water meters for those individual.
so electric, everything is on a meter except for barn A, and yes, we are starting the process of trying to get bids. It's gonna be probably in excess of 100,000 to have barn A completely rewired
For the electric, oh,
for the
that,
electric.
I think about the expansion of events and the expansion of use. Once the electrics are up to snuff, so that they can handle a lot of the electronic stuff that's
Correct.
available.
That is correct, yeah.
That isn't
And fire
realisable now.
safety, it's an old electric system.
We get it inspected every year by the fire department.
Okay, yeah, but.
Now, there's also gonna be a register in this one, I didn't, sorry to interrupt you, Martin, it's in my head. We meet on Monday at 10 with the company that's gonna come in and design and build the EV car charging stations. They're gonna need multi-phase power,
Uh-huh.
and this is where we're gonna learn a lot about our system. Cause they're gonna have a separate meter. So we don't think this is gonna happen right away, but we're actually gonna start the process. Grant, this has to be done, I think, by the end of this year. Now I think about the grant. So that's why we're jumping on the electrical project to try to bring in another company to come in and see if we can't just get this whole thing cleaned up. So
I think it could really expand our possibilities.
absolutely,
So does each septic tank pump over the hill?
no. That's why it's called a loss. So it all pumps into the one in A, and then A's got the two internal pumps that pump out over, into the drain field. They're not all four pump up there. They all connect. That's what's called a large on-site sewage system.
Has a commercial system ever been described to you as far as how it differs from what we have?
It basically can handle, grease. We have a grease trap. So everything goes through a grease trap. It's all, it's all coated. It's just a more durable system, I guess, that is designed to handle, much more food and grease and byproducts of a cafe.
Well, thinking of the future and planning for the future might make it interesting for us to consider going to commercial.
Well, I think some,
Especially at a point, I don't know how long it would take to install it that way. But one of the things that is missing right now in Central Woodby is restaurant and dining opportunities between Coupeville and Freeland.
Mhm.
And that may be an opportunity for a business, especially if we're already for it.
Yeah.
And just thinking of the future, I know John likes to do that.
So you mentioned Whitby Pie is no longer doing what?
They have reduced their operations. I believe one of the reasons why Joe has stayed here just to produce the dough for the pies is because it's 44 cents a square foot for that kitchen. There is a rumor out there that he's gonna move 100% of his operation into his facility that he has in Freeland. But right now, he is basically reducing that operation just to make more dough for the pies.
That started a few years ago. That's not necessarily a recent change.
Well,
They've been
no,
operating Freeland
They've
for some
been-
years.
They have been, but he now just recently, like he says in July, we don't know what month, removed two of his outdoor freezers.
Yeah,
those
well,
big
Whitby
containers?
Island Ground bought one. That was 2023, I believe.
Yeah, I don't know where he
But maybe he had another one.
had another
Yeah.
one, because he removed the one he attached to barn B, which is on a meter. And then he removed the second one that was attached to barn A, because right now he and I are
Yeah, the Barn
negotiating,
B one.
lowering his, yeah.
We bought.
Oh, did you really? Okay,
Whitby
good.
Island Ground.
Okay, reducing his electrical fee that we estimate and just it's basically a fixed fee that we give him
Yeah,
every month, right? So he's, he's moving his operation into Freeland. And so, yeah, so and actually the new septic is in the capital finance plan.
Okay.
I think
I'm just remembering that you said he only makes the dough there for the pies, and pie dough is made out of fat
yeah,
and flour.
Oh, that's true. That's all you see now is pallets of flour and whatever.
but
That
not
is-
great for a septic system.
That, yeah, that's right.
Rather
Well,
have
I tell you,
berries.
but his mom had the shop going
Well,
back
for
way
years.
before our time.
Yeah.
So
Right,
that system has been able
handle
to handle it.
Yeah.
And everything has a lifespan.
Everything
Yeah.
has a lifespan.
We
Yeah.
should keep it in the back of our heads.
That's all I have for the Green Bank farm, unless you guys have any
I
other.
had one,
Yeah.
I saw that the ditches along the south
I know,
side
I
of
saw that.
Long Road, was that the county did that?
That had to be the county, because we don't do
Because
that.
that basically, that whole pond that,
The
I think
wetland.
there's a spring bubbling up within the road that makes it wet every time you drive over it. And then like, there's a little pond next to it that I do see ducks all the time.
Mhm.
And then that basically all feeds and goes under the road, Long Road, onto this side of Green Bay.
I don't know
And
if
then
that,
it flows underground into our pond.
yeah, I don't know, I know that when I walked the farm when I started, the spring is on the other side of the highway.
Yeah, I just found it.
Did you really? Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I know that's
It's not
feeds-
easy.
No, it's not, it's all overgrown. It feeds directly into our, I don't know what you would call it, our underground, not cistern.
Yeah, there's an underground
Tile.
pipe that's running from the
Okay.
pond over to
Out in
close
the
to
grass.
Long
and
Road
then-
where the
Right,
water goes.
I think that could
Yeah, it's
be,
a pipe. Yeah,
is it a pipe? Are you sure it's a pipe?
Our natural,
Cause I thought it was tiles, so Judy told me it was tiles.
is that like half
I don't know.
clay, half dome with a natural bottom, or a clay
I
pipe or
don't
something?
know, all I know is that we can see
There's
the
a man
water.
cup
Right,
where you can lift it open and
Right.
see a pipe on both. and
right.
See water flow.
Yeah, I'm not sure, I mean, we've actually tried to get a company to come out and see if they can take a vacuum truck and enter that manhole. As
Yeah.
well as here, which the county did do, by the way, and clean and see,
Yeah.
let's set a camera up there, to be honest.
Yeah,
So I don't know if that accumulation out there where they dug that ditch is accumulation of water coming down from the triangle, or if it's spill coming underground, because it doesn't do it in the summertime. It only does it in the wintertime. It's dry in the summer.
yeah.
So I don't know, that's a good question.
Yeah.
But
I was just wondering if that was part of a project we did.
we didn't do that, 'cause I noticed that there, Jim, like, that wouldn't been us.
Was water was water getting over the road?
Yeah, at one point, it was
Like
nothing,
flooding?
but it was, the road was wet.
So Public Works must have came out and tried to clear that, so it wouldn't.
They may have done it on the same day they came out, and they say they come out once a year, I've never seen them. And that sediment filter that we discovered, that goes into the pond, that drains off all the parking lots and
Yeah,
it hits a sediment filter and goes in the pond, they went out and sucked that out for us. Sweet.
in our park.
In our parking lot, they said, no, we do this once a year, I'm like, when I was told that, I was like, I've never heard of it,
But that's great.
that's fantastic, we need
Maybe
to.
we can get them on a 6-month schedule and,
They do it for free.
yeah.
So we need to, yeah, we're trying to find a company to just do it on a quarterly basis.
Yeah,
The engineer said you should do it monthly. We're like, that's like $500, $600, $700 a month
but if Public Works has it on there, I mean, if,
annually.
but still, if it's on there or something.
We'll
we should
ask
just
them.
Talk to them,
Yeah,
see what they're.
Yeah.
and whatever happened to the well on that hill? Remember that, the farm management group wasn't staying on top of the permitting of that well that we could.
well,
Just our well, that it's,
I mean, our wellhead,
Yeah,
well, getting it, the commercial and agricultural use, we were over our limits,
Oh.
we were working with ecology.
what's that? Oh.
Cause the pond part of that.
Because they forgot that we had a pond.
They're within our usage limit, and so they have it as an extension, and they're just holding it until that's down.
Okay,
And then they can meet or read it after the end of, this year and cycle it for a year.
Yeah, we still report.
We're in compliance, so.
Yeah.
And the wellhead is fine, and there's no additional chemicals or sediments, because it's tested all the time, but nothing has been replaced.
Yep.
Redrilled.
Every month. We actually rebuilt the pipe on the wellhead ourselves.
Hmm.
We did it with, fiberglass. So we hired our water, like, oh, I can rebuild that, $500-600, we'll just put fiberglass, we'll make sure that that wellhead pipe comes up and a year goes by, he just blew us off and Jeff said, I'll do it. He went up there and built the whole thing himself.
That's cool.
Which is why we have it, right? Perfect. Okay,
Good deal.
Martin, pushing things forward at the farm.
Trying.
Mary Ann, okay, that's all I have for 8.5, so I guess we're on to 10.1.
Yep.
Mary Ann?
Yes, we are, this particular resolution was tabled from last month, the adoption of the updated employee handbook, resolution 237-1D. And I have to look at the one that was presented.
I think it was, Rick was still updating the.
Yeah, he
handbook,
hasn't
and
finished
I had
it yet,
comments that I sent the day of last meeting, so he's
right,
now sent it to us.
so
And
is this,
I'm comfortable.
is this still part of the employee handbook, or did we have this pulled?
I believe we signed that.
No, that's already been approved and done, and Martin, we've been discussing this. We're leaving all that in because we're leaving it in, but there was a lot of feedback. Thank you, by the way, all of you. That I had implemented in the actual employee handbook itself. Martin found a bunch of stuff, even dates and stuff that were hiding in heads. And so all that has been cleaned up. I can show you, I have it, I can put it here as well, but I want to put the resolution up there. This is just basically saying that you're adopting the updated handbook, which includes not only the verbal changes we made, but that we're approving, it includes the wage policy.
So we approved the
We
wage
already
policy.
approved the wage policy.
And then the wage policy is within the handbook as well. Copy of it.
Okay,
But this resolution just approves the new employee handbook.
so we have 3 times.
It's in there.
3 times,
Two times, yeah.
okay.
But yeah, people are gonna sign that wage policy. And I move to adopt this resolution and approve the
Read that.
resolution 237-1B to
Read,
adopt the updated employee handbook.
second.
Which one was it?
Oh,
I heard John first.
Okay.
fine. Is there any discussion further? If not, we'll call for the vote, all in favor, aye, unanimous.
Thank you. But just so you know, now we will go out and we will send pages and a signature sheet to all staff. And to sign that they've received the updates to the new employee.
Okay.
Just so you know.
Is this handbook going to be in hard copy or only online?
If you would like to request a hard copy of it, just email me and I'll.
Not now.
Online, no, we don't include a copy of our handbook on our
Okay,
website.
but I could,
I could email it to you in a heartbeat.
right, and
Well, it's
anybody,
already in here.
well, I don't need it now. But any member of the public could request that under a PR,
If someone wants to request a copy of our, yes, they can.
anything.
The employee handbook, sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
The handbook can be updated, right?
What's that?
It can be updated.
By
It's been
resolution,
updated 4 times already.
but we need to pass a resolution to update.
Oh,
He
Yeah.
can't just update it.
okay.
Well, I probably could, but since the very beginning when I wrote it, I've always had the board approve any updates. So I'm fine with that. I think the board
Yeah,
chooses
but-
policy, right? And the board's responsible for policy too.
It's really important to keep policies up to date.
Yep.
You never know when it's gonna have some happen.
And it's really valuable, I think, to look at it and review it and make some updates.
Yeah.
Well, there's also a set of rules by which staff operates,
Yeah.
right? It's important. Okay, thank you for 10.1. Oh, thank you.
Questions, though. And the handbook also states which staff qualify for health insurance, right?
Yes, it qualifies what's full-time for the board, which is 32 hours per week on average throughout the year.
It can be important.
It'll come in. We in our voucher thing, they endorse as a big dollar amount. The health insurance is getting up there too.
No, that's-
And we approve that with vouchers. And you know, that's a bugbear for me because I suspect there's reason people get killed and murdered. You know, for being crappy health policy providers.
Okay, we'll move on now to number 10.2. This is an action that actually more of a discussion prior to any action that I sent you by an employee I emailed yesterday, and then you have a printed copy that compares the RCW that describes per diem payment and the action that was taken a year ago when at my first meeting as a commissioner. And I want us to discuss the difference between official services and duties in the law compared to association approved meetings, which I moved in January. I think we all can do better than this. This to me is something I know I can do better at, and I hope that you agree and we can come to some discussion of what to do about it.
I don't really understand what the issue is.
Well, the issue is, I don't know what association is I don't know the difference between official services and duties and association approved meetings. They seem quite distinct to me.
You don't know what your duties are as a commissioner?
This is duties that are paid per diem compensation, not duties in general. Per diem refers to a day or portion of a day in
That-
actual attendance. It's right, I just copied the whole.
Yeah, I know. If you spend a portion of a day doing those official services or duties on behalf of the district, you're eligible for compensation.
Okay, how do we know that these services and duties are on behalf of the district, meaning the
But
court
it
district?
says that they,
We come in,
that's sure.
cause I'm probably the one that's done most of it.
Right, can you describe what you consider to be official services or duties? Perhaps you can help us both.
So, you know, I was years ago approved to attend broadband related type
Mhm.
meetings. So what I try to do is, you know, copy the agenda,
Uh-huh,
you know, from the meeting I attend, so Public Works Board. And on there, they'll, you know, talk about ISP applicants and stuff like that.
just a question. I don't remember ever getting this from you in an FYI. Did you send it and I not pay attention?
No, and this is why it's good to have this discussion.
Yeah,
Okay. You know, there are, let me just show some of the other things that have happened. So here are like handwritten notes,
uh-huh,
State Broadband Office, WSBO. You know, what I try to do is, you know, because I don't want to type out verbatim the
no,
entire meeting, but I try to get, you know, takeaway points and I'll kind of star. And then I might bring those up to Chris about, you know, deadlines and stuff like that.
uh-huh,
So I, unlike David Day, who used to type up a cog kind of report.
mhm. But would you be able to concisely describe that verbally, if somebody wanted to know what was going on at the meeting you attended?
Yes,
Perhaps,
you can explain if
and
somebody
but I
wants to
have, I
know
think in
what's
some of the
happening.
meetings I've
Yeah,
actually
but how do we know that he's been there?
Why is that important?
well.
Because it costs $161 of taxpayer money.
Suggesting that
That's all.
frauding here, or like
Hey, kids, we just show you.
I just wanna be, as John has already brought up, fiscally responsible when I approve payment of public money.
And
I just wanna know what it was for, that's all.
so I take a screenshot
Uh-huh,
of the attendees at
Right.
meetings that
Right.
I'm at. If they supply that type of information on the screen that a meeting I'm at. So that would be, yes, I was at that meeting. Okay,
I have no doubt that you actually do your work as a commissioner and have gone to these meetings. You seem to have doubt.
No,
You
no,
keep
no,
bringing it
no,
up.
I have no doubt at all that
That's
John
the
is,
job of a commissioner. To
yes, that's what
bring
we're
forward the issues of the port and go to meetings and connect with other
right.
groups and try to advance the mission of the port of Coupeville.
Okay, so to get your point of view, in my mind, it sounds to me as though you believe that every commissioner is his or her compensation should include the salary which we get and the maximum amount of per diem compensation allowed by law. Is that correct?
The maximum?
Yes.
They're the maximum, yeah. But
That
it's irrelevant.
My view is that the compensation should follow the law of what the compensation says it is.
I
Yeah,
think
but
you
there's
should look
two
at the
types
proof.
of compensation.
She's worried about proof.
Yeah, there's salary and per diem.
Okay, we get both.
Yeah,
And
that's
one
what
of them-
it's in bold right here. You
That's
copied the law.
right. But one of them is a per diem, not a, yes. And according to law, I believe it's up to 15,000
Yeah.
something dollars per year.
There's a.
That is a
You can't claim
maximum.
more than, is that what you're saying?
Hmm?
Yeah. You're not allowed to claim more than those. You're only allowed to
There's a
claim
limit.
up to
There's a speed.
15,000.
Every commissioner can claim with, if it's a official service or duty,
On behalf of the district.
and you believe that everything that a commissioner does, I'm not criticizing, I'm trying to get information,
Okay.
okay? You believe that everything a commissioner does outside of a meeting, where he does it because he's a commissioner, on his own decision that he's doing this because he's commissioner,
Not his own
is
decision.
entitled to a per diem payment.
Not his own
I
decision.
mean, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know how to interpret that, but that could be.
My-
We can talk to Seth and see
No,
what he
no,
thinks.
no.
You're asking me to interpret this law and say what it means?
No, I'm giving an option of what it means.
You can't give
John,
options
what
of
do
what
you-
a law.
Well, in turn, years ago, when things were financially really, really tight, okay? You know, I think what it was is that we tried to limit additional per diems,
Mhm.
okay? I was a little twitchy because, you know, at that time, we had some deadbeat commissioners that had no imagination, no vision. And so the concern is that any commissioner that did have a vision, did have initiative, did get off their duff at meetings, would be restricted from, you know, interacting with other political people, you know, mayors, county commissioners,
Yeah.
whatnot. I bowed to their will and said, okay, tell me which, meetings you would approve me attending. And that's why I kind of did that, you know, meet you in the middle of that, you know,
Mhm.
particular commission,
Sure.
okay? I've always kind of questioned, I think, what you're kind of sensing. Can the two of us tell you what to do? And as far as
We can
interacting,
make a policy. that we
you know,
can set a
interacting
limit.
with the
We can
community.
have our own compensation policy and not use any of it.
Right, that's legal for the
So
RCW.
you could just say whatever you want, and yeah, you wanna set a policy.
I'm just asking questions. I just wanna know. I'm not satisfied that what happened a year ago is adequate for me to explain to the public who pays the money
Yeah,
that they are getting value for dollars spent. That's all I want some help, yes.
money is a resource. Guess what's more important to me? Time.
Okay,
My time is valuable. And for too many friggin' years, I had commissioners sitting next to me that saw no value in me.
mm, that makes it difficult,
Yes,
that makes. it
okay.
difficult.
So when I would go to COG meetings. Suck it up, John. There goes, 2 or 3 hours of your life between that and IRTPO.
Uh-huh,
I think we need to have value, self-value,
uh-huh.
okay? And if I spend an hour or two doing something, meeting with other elected officials in the community. And I gotta tell you, I got some really positive feedback about Martin Ollie
Mm,
and his attendance at COG.
mm.
Really nice feedback.
Well,
So, but he doesn't get paid for COG, but it happens on the same day that we do a court meeting.
Yeah.
Can I just add a little bit of history here? It used to be that there were definite meetings assigned to commissioners. There was COG, there was the transportation, there was fisheries, and there was something else. And at every meeting, when it got to reports, they'd often say, well, I didn't go to the meeting. But that was, I understood as a member of the public that those meetings were, there because the port had a seat on the board of those meetings. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. But when they didn't go to that meeting, he didn't submit a
No,
per diem.
and as long as I've got you, I'm not familiar in my other experience as a commissioner of having having anyone sign in addition to me when I put in my claim. Is that something that this port does, or is that?
I do not approve your activity. What I approve is the payment of the quarterly report. I do not go through and say, did John
No,
attend
no,
this? No, I don't do that.
You just,
I'm procedural. And if I could offer something to you, Mary Ann, that's measurable. If it wasn't for John's activity, we would not have an IDD.
I know,
Day wouldn't have got the $320,000 for the fall, so.
I appreciate everything that John has done.
Well, you were just asking, how can you explain to a member of the public the value of the other commissioners?
And I was trying to give you
getting
a
the
couple
money?
examples.
And now you're saying you don't question the value of the other commissioners, but you are questioning
the
it. You
problem-
bring it up every time.
The problem is where it says on behalf of the district. The
Yeah,
district has 3 commissioners, and if only one commissioner is getting the information, and I don't get it forwarded to me or a report given to me, which has not happened at every meeting. We talked about that at one time, that we would very much like to hear reports about, so that is for the entire district, not just for the one person. That's really my concern and why I brought this up.
But it's on the agenda, commissioner reports, and if John goes to a meeting, he reports during the meeting.
But I have a record I looked at I went through the entire 2024 minutes. According to the minutes, John made a report on June 26th, on July 10th, and on September 11th. And that's it.
okay,
And that's why I brought this up. In an official agenda item. If I don't question the value of John's research and attendance at other meetings. But if it's going to benefit the entire district, which includes me and Martin.
Right.
I think we need, forget deserve, we need to hear too, what is going on.
What you're saying is valid. Here's the problem, or reality. You attend a meeting and they mention nothing that affects the Port of Coupeville, but you still, time-wise, attended the meeting.
Oh, well, if they say nothing about the Port of Coupeville, how can it be?
You don't know, you don't know.
yeah, like I was I was talking about the legislative priorities in the COG meeting and representing the Port of Coupeville in that meeting. We discussed it here. I don't know if it made it to the minutes. It's in the
I-
video.
It will not make it to the minutes because we are. Basement.
Like, John and I are doing things on behalf of the port
Yeah, it's a
to
good point.
prove our value
Okay,
to the constituents.
Okay.
What, is this what you're bringing to
I
the
can
commission?
cut this off right now because I get the message. Both of you feel that it is up to the individual commissioner to decide that his work on a particular day is an official service or duty on behalf of the district and should be paid.
We're elected officials. We're accountable to the voters, not to you.
But okay, on behalf of the district. So if that's the way you two feel, I just wanna know.
I mean, I think every other port has this exact same thing. They don't have specific.
I
policies about
need-
this.
I need to be comfortable with the fact that a commissioner, in your two opinions, has the responsibility to fiscal responsibility, his fiscal responsibility to decide for himself that his activities on a particular day fit the legal description and therefore are worthy of the per diem payment. But I hope you also feel that if it's valuable, we all need to hear about it, not just the one person who went to the meeting. Or did something.
Yeah, I mean, some think like, if there's something that I wanna bring up in a commission meeting, because I think it's relevant to the whole commission. Then I will, but not everything that I do as an elected official. Has to be brought up to the whole commission. Sometimes I work with Chris
Only,
on things.
oh, I understand
Sometimes
that.
I go to meetings with about the roads and the irrigation system, and it's like, I don't necessarily need to.
Yeah, I have a question for you. When you went to the Tyee to meet with the Lions Club,
I decided that was part of my salary, and I did not claim a per diem in addition.
But were you working on behalf of the district?
I was there as a commissioner.
So you're the blocker.
And I'm paid as,
But you chose not to. And that's fine.
I decided that as a salaried commissioner, it was part of my duties. And if you're going to be personal, I can be personal too, and decide that that is paid by my salary, and I did not claim an additional.
That's fine. You're not
Per diem.
required to claim the per diem,
Yeah.
so totally.
and again, it gets back to time. I mean, I have a life outside of the port.
Oh, so do I.
You know, I've got a business, I'm trying to fill in a gap. with
Do you
health.
wanna cut it short and just say, forget this, and we'll do it the way we've always been doing it?
Well, I'm kind of resentful that you keep bringing it up, because it implies that there's some sort of a fraud or someone's taking advantage.
Well, that's
and you
your
keep bringing
grind.
it up.
I have no,
And like, every time you brought up John's individual form a year ago, and like, wanted to go through line by line and all his claims of the meetings he went to, and he explained all of them, and I didn't see anything, no impropriety, nor did anyone else.
But I hear what you're saying about sharing that information.
Yeah,
And I gotta reassure you, I share what I think is, out of a 2 or 3 hour meeting. I'm not gonna share every word.
okay.
I'm gonna share the high points that are, the bullet points
It
that
was-
pertain to us.
Even if you go to a meeting and you learn nothing of it, of import, it is still the fact that you went to the meeting that deserves the compensation because it's your
Of
time.
time.
absolutely.
If that's the way you two feel about it, that's the way it'll be. And I promise never to bring it up again, because now you've made it clear.
That is the way I feel about it. There are
Thank-
other ports, I looked at the Port of Seattle, which is obviously much larger and has a lot more things, but there are other, they have a policy on it. And they increased the number of days that they're allowed to claim per diems, and they set their own.
Different places have policies.
Most of them don't, most of them just go by the law. And they also, one other thing they do that I thought you might be interested in is they publish. Every year, they publish for the whole year, month by month, what each commissioner by name has claimed on their reports. Basically just publish all the reports.
Yeah, and if public ever want to do a PRA for your quarterly reports, they can do that too.
Yeah, they're public record anyway, but if the public was concerned about which meeting John was going to, we could just publish those reports. I'm comfortable with that. We could put them on the website. We feel like these are the monthly reports of what the commissioners did. If anybody was confused about, I feel like bringing it up, it implies that there's some kind of weird things going on. When there's not. If we could just publish the reports, it would be fine. People could look it up and see it.
Different people have different opinions of what weird things are. And sometimes I have contact with people in my neighborhood because as a water commissioner, we also get per diem compensation. And we have people who come to our meetings and want to know, well, what did you do for that? So it's my other experience with people who come to meetings, I guess. And they may ask these questions, and I understand that it's up to the board as a whole to decide how to do it, and it was decided a year ago that I don't know, I still don't know what association approved meetings means, but it doesn't matter because it hasn't come up, and you seem to be happy with the way things are, so let's close this discussion and say there will be no action taken.
I think that meant the meetings that we talked about during that.
Well, it doesn't matter what it means. Does it? Does it matter?
I don't know. Why, you brought it up.
Well, yes, I brought it up for discussion,
Okay,
and if it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. I don't wanna waste our time.
I think, to me, the law is pretty clear, and I think we each have a duty to follow the law and be fiscally responsible with the port's money.
It's clear to me, and I see it from a different angle than you do. That's all.
Okay,
We'll just agree to disagree. But this is a majority.
and I think if you have any concern about wanting the public to be able to see what the commissioners are doing in the
They would
document, that we should push to publish our car reports.
If they care enough, I'll let you know.
And.
It's all talk now.
And,
It's all
and
talk.
I do a lot of mail talk with my community, when everybody's talking about blocks,
Yes,
and believe me, they don't get away from me without me telling them about what the port's up to.
yeah. Well, I
Or they,
understand.
or they ask me, hey,
Yeah.
what's happening with the port?
Yeah,
And I give them a quick update. So,
That's good.
I mean, that and.
The more we can get out with other people, and I think we all do it.
Mm.
So it's all positive. This is just one of those procedural things that have been on my mind because it's different from what I'm used to. That's all. I do not question anybody's integrity. Never.
And that triggers a thought on my part. Is that, I wish that I'm sitting next to commissioners that are pushing the port forward on things that improve community economic vitality.
Mm.
Not procedural issues.
yeah.
Yes, but we have procedural. We have to run the port. Businesses have
And we
procedures.
have a procedure in place that Chris, reviews the car report and, I don't know.
Okay, can we just say we're done?
Sure.
Sure.
Okay, let's move on. Let's move on to commissioner reports. And I'll start with mine. Did you all know that the county commissioners are discussing improving broadband access? Okay, that's all. I don't need to report it if you've already up
I mean,
where.
I've heard that. Did you go to?
This is an article from the Whitney News Times.
I know Janet St. Clair is involved in the broadband action team, and there's a staff person that Cody person that Chris has been
Yeah,
working with.
Cody,
He's an employee of Island County and
Yeah.
they've been working for broadband access for years.
Right, but they
And
have,
there's new BEAD funding there.
there's, well, it made the paper, really.
Janet, one of the county commissioners sits on the broadband action team. That's, right now, I think going to every other month.
Yeah, they haven't had a meeting in quite a while.
Right.
I went to the last one.
So this is,
Too.
so because I have not attended all the meetings you've attended, this is merely a continuation with a new person at the head, great.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know that there was actually new changes. That was just that there's gonna be
It's
new
just
funding BEAD coming out and they got it. The reporter wanted to make us.
The county has applied for support from Broadlink, a public development authority in Spokane, to explore the details of a federal program. Is that new or is that an old thing too?
They're
I
just,
never heard that
they're
discussion.
just exploring the different, funding avenues available to people covered.
Okay,
Yeah.
I've never heard of Cody. After I made that one attempt and got shot down.
I think you should try again. It probably wasn't Cody that was,
It wasn't.
It wasn't.
Yeah, that's why.
because I think you guys have a lot of stuff.
yeah, great,
So commissioner reports,
yes.
even though this is not an assigned thing that, got claimed for per diem.
Just,
I got an email from Mary about, leadership Whitby.
okay,
We're gonna have a meeting with the port, send somebody over. And it came from Mary and it showed up with me. Ironically, I had it on my own schedule, leadership Whitby about that meeting.
Oh, how
Don't know
about
why. So I went there and had a chance to meet with the attendees. And, a lot of the mayors were there. Rick, was there. From, this,
Rick Larson?
yeah,
Oh, great.
yeah, because he's with Patrick County. And yeah, so he was there because of that,
Okay.
but, he's also important politically. So, yeah,
Absolutely.
I did attend Leadership Whitby. And for the first time, it was very, very interesting, so anyway.
was it similar to leadership, information you've gotten from other sources, or was it completely different?
Here's their actual meeting, that day of, what was being covered in that particular training session. And, it was good for me because public health did a huge report, of a, assessment of public health in the community that they presented, and I got a copy of that. And obviously, the healthcare backbone, I was able to kind of read through every word in the sentence and go, poof, what a pile. And some of the report was pretty good. It's another one of those things that you get a nice thick report, it goes on the shelf. But does a needle really get moved to make better access, better senior care? And interesting enough, affordable housing showed up as a health issue. So,
Interesting,
yeah, so,
thank you for sharing.
yeah.
Anything from you?
I went to the bases, elected official winter social. The Navy base in Oak Harbor.
Wow,
Met the commander, Ganesh, the new commander. And
Cause I know base.
on base, he had to get.
Yeah.
I thought I had all the right permission and had a QR code printed out and. The guy with the machine gun told me to turn around. Somewhere else. Yeah, it could have been weird, I don't know, so yeah, we had to get a different, actually, we had all the right people. They just had to, somebody had to call somebody else and say, let these guys through.
oh, funny.
I've gone to several of these.
Yeah, but it was good, there were a lot of discussion, informal discussions with them.
And weren't there some other community leaders there too, like?
Yeah, I think Melanie Bacon was there, Ronnie Wright was there,
A lot
a
of
bunch of water district and pool, I learned all about the Oak Harbor Pool District and what
school
they've been
district
going through.
chair.
Yeah,
Let me circle back around, the leadership would be, I did during my little brief presentation to the group. Mention something about the need for a change in our district boundaries. And surprising enough, Oak Harbor. Was supportive, people from Oak Harbor were very supportive of that concept.
Because of the marina alone.
Yeah. So, anyway.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, we got to the next thing, which is
Commissioner discussion.
discussion.
Before you hit that, we were talking about insurance earlier and you asked a question. I have some answers for you. Since 2022, this includes 22, 23, and 24. So over a 3-year period, we have been reimbursed by Honduras so far $257,874.68 in claims. Our premiums in 2022, 23, and 24 have been $291,383. That is a difference of $33,509. In other words, we have paid out $33,509 more than we received in reimbursable benefits from natural disaster repairs.
So, we're not a big moneymaker for Honduras, but we do.
That
We
number will
still
change.
have coverage.
Yeah, that number will change here because we're gonna be getting a lot reimbursed in the next 60 days.
Well, thank
With
you
the
very
bulkhead
much.
and stuff.
but
So
it's insightful that it's pretty close, actually.
pretty close, yeah.
Well, you know what happens when you have more claims and.
They drop.
They don't answer the phone.
Okay, I did have a basic thing about future workshops. And I had, Chris ask, Murray to print out the, lease policies that he presented online for, our investigation, so I will have my hard copies to mark up to see which aspects, they're long and they're complicated. And for me, it is quite concerning that for all these many years, the port has been renting property. We haven't had a lease policy. That is really unfortunate.
Well, it's been attempted, but the previous boards have tabled it,
Right,
not you.
Yeah,
Previous board members have
I
tabled it.
think
we should get it done.
we need a workshop, not with somebody here telling us what to do. I think we needed amongst ourselves and Chris to look at what he has found for us to consider and discuss the aspects to see if everything fits, what it really means, etc. So I think that might be one of the workshops we want to schedule as soon as possible to get on the ball.
And just so put it into context for everybody, delegation of authority will contain the leasing policy. So you can break it out if you want, but most of the ports have the leasing policy contained in the delegation of authority because the delegation of authority is geared towards the executive director. The
Very
executive
good
director
point.
runs the lease.
Which brings up, before we have a delegation of authority, we might want to do another thing that's been tabled, which is reviewing the performance of the executive director. I think if we had an executive session to do that prior to our decision about what kind of authority we want to give that position. So that's perhaps,
like the employee handbook says that we should be doing annually and
yes,
doesn't
I
always
think
happen.
they fit together. I don't know, can you have an executive session during a workshop?
No, I would think not.
Okay, so that's, which comes first, the chicken or the egg?
I think the,
So on the future board meeting agenda, we needed an executive session to sit down and review Chris's performance.
Yep, I would do that first. The delegation of authority just could be interesting. I would not tailor that towards me. I mean, I would tailor that, towards I would tailor that towards the future as far as
Right.
any executive director, what are their, what is their limit of authority in all these different areas?
So would we do the lease policy, and while we're doing that, think about what kind of, authority we're giving the ED before we review Chris's performance?
I think I get Chris's point that they're kind of unrelated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I don't think the order matters really. I don't think we're gonna say like, we really like how Chris is doing, so let's give the more authority.
Exactly, that's what I'm trying to prevent.
oh, I see.
I have a lot of rules already,
Towards the opposite.
Right.
but so I do have some boundaries, right? But on my ability to do change orders and
Mhm.
it's kind of in my contract,
Yes,
which is, that's been way a while ago. Has been renewed. But the delegation of authority is something that has been brought up in small port conferences year after year after year. And it's like, we really should have one.
oh, yes.
And so I sent you some examples of some ports that have spent a lot of time and money, and probably with Schnock and Davis, who presented this, to put these into motion. So it's really just a matter of going through and tailoring it, and then getting on our lease policy, which I'm more worried about than anything else right now is lease policy. I want to have clear-cut guidelines that I can say no to tenants, yes to tenants.
It needs to be on paper.
It needs to be in paper, it needs to be approved by resolution, and
So could we do this executive session at our next board meeting?
Yeah,
you gotta do
let's,
whatever you
And
want.
then can we now
Because it doesn't
look at our
require-
calendars? No?
What's that,
Just
the
let's
review?
be in the executive.
Oh, no, doesn't even, just,
I mean, we could, wasn't if we wanted, but. it's
no,
just
I
us
think
three.
we need to just be us three.
And then should we look at our calendars now and try to shout a date for
Workshop.
a workshop?
would you guys want me to bring Tim back to, because I did this in October of 23, where I brought in Tim Schmitzler from Schmitzler and Davis and had him present the meeting. He has a presentation. He can do the same presentation. Actually have it, talks about what a delegation authority is, what a leasing policy is, and sets the groundwork for you guys, so you understand how important it is, what it typically looks like, and then of course we have examples. We did all that, and then a former commissioner said, no, table it, I don't wanna deal with this. anymore."
So are you allowed
You didn't see it, Martin. you
to
didn't.
represent what you got in October?
Of course, so
Well,
I
then let's do that.
Maybe I'll bring
We have the
that
workshop.
to the next agenda and see if Tim's available. If not, maybe I can go through it and try to present it if he's not. But
So it's not all
It's on YouTube, right? We could just
it would
play.
be, it would be, if we go back, I forget what meeting it was, I think it was September, October of last year, of 2023.
So you didn't record it.
We probably
YouTube.
did. It should
Oh,
be.
well, can't you just show it? Why do we have to have
Yeah, we
somebody?
don't need him to come again if it's exactly the
Yeah,
same.
we can do that, we can try to,
I
We
mean,
might have questions.
what kind of copyright does he have on it?
no, it's.
So, let me clarify, so this is something that we can look at our own leisure. Prior to an executive session to review,
I want it in the
It
meeting.
doesn't need to be prior. This would be the workshop
It's
to
in the
review the
workshop.
lease policy and the, what's the other part of it?
The delegation.
Delegation
authority,
of
yeah.
authority.
But it would help to see it beforehand, before you go into your workshop.
right,
So we could either watch that on our own time, or we could play it during the workshop.
how long the presentation?
It was during a meeting, so I don't know, 20 minutes, half an hour or something.
Okay,
You were there, weren't you? I wasn't there.
I don't know what I had for breakfast.
I don't know how long it is.
Yeah, it'd be review for you.
Yeah,
I have the
Well, let's
presentation,
put that on
too,
the
so I can
agenda.
try to send that, but, so we're gonna have an executive session on January 22nd for the ED review.
How much time do we want? 20 minutes?
You probably plan for 30.
Yeah.
No, we'll just always put it for 30. We can always stop early if we need to.
Okay,
We just did.
and then we'll send everybody upstairs, I guess.
Yes, that is correct.
so we're still in commissioner discussion, right?
Yes,
Okay. So something, was discussed early in this meeting about septic systems.
Hmm.
And Chris has informed me that the caretaker cottage, that you were negotiating with somebody to actually tear it down and haul it off.
No, not tear it down. We're in the middle of contract negotiation with Nichols Brothers to enter into an agreement to allow them to have the sole ability to sell it and remove it at no cost to the port. Also not making any money on it, right? That's how they're gonna make their money. I don't wanna pay to have that removed. And then I also at the same time, I'm talking to a community member who would not use Nichols Brothers, who has moved a house onto his property with another vendor and working with him as well. So we're just trying to keep the interest up to get that house to be moved and repurposed.
And where I'm coming from is I think there's a lost revenue to the port of Coupeville. That's significant. You know,
From the rental income.
Right.
That's, yeah.
Right.
That we used to get.
But you haven't considered the condition of the house.
I think what he's
Get rid of
getting at is that we would build something new
modular,
Oh,
and get
and workforce housing type of arrangement.
Yeah,
I think it's a timing thing. It's a timing thing as far as rushing into things before we understand all the aspects of it. And I think that getting rid of what's there now needs to be done. And I would like to put your idea along with others in a workshop about the future of the port and what it's going to do in order to increase revenue.
yeah, workforce housing or housing.
District.
I think that's part of a discussion that's bigger than just that.
So let's figure
Because
out
it
the workshop date.
Yeah, well, you keep bringing up expanding the boundaries, and then that's one aspect, and,
Let's put it in a workshop.
it needs, well,
Is that more
we're
important?
gonna have a workshop on the
No,
lease
we could have-
policies
Yeah,
first.
The agenda for the workshop has got multiple things, right?
Right.
Do you think we can do all of that in one workshop?
No,
I
I
don't
think
think
so.
so.
We want,
They're too different.
I thought, might need multiple workshops.
Right.
Yeah.
I think so.
Right.
I think we should stick with the lease thing first and take care of it. See how complicated that might get, who knows?
Yeah, and then we could bring it. to
And
a
then
meeting.
this other idea about the future of increasing revenue and what our long-term plans might include. Could be a separate workshop, because you've got lots of ideas for long-term plans.
So when is this workshop supposed to occur?
Well, we're gonna set it at the next meeting,
Why don't we send,
well, because we could. If you wanna book up all of January? How much you wanna do?
no, I just wanna look at our calendars and try to figure out when we should.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have any.
Oh, okay. Well, we could do it.
And we don't have to do it on Wednesdays, right? The workshop.
No, I don't think Wednesdays would be, or it could be a different, not when we have normal,
No,
one or the other.
Yeah.
But
Well,
Wednesdays are not.
Wednesdays are generally good.
I think part of my,
It depends on Chris too. He's the one with the real busy schedule.
you guys want me to definitely read through all those documents and how to get an
Tuesdays,
understanding.
well, Tuesdays aren't bad for me. How about you?
Tuesday can work, Tuesday's good.
Well, are we talking about January still? You wanna have it before January 22nd, which is our next meeting?
Oh.
How much notice do we need to give for a workshop and everything?
It's same as this, 24 hours. I typically get 4 or 5 days anyway, so
Okay.
never. The only time I have to get a notice is a public hearing.
I mean, Chris would need to be available, so.
Yeah, that's gonna be, well, I have Tuesdays and stuff available. I have nothing scheduled, but
Time-wise, is it possible we could set the first workshop date and time at our next regular board meeting on the 22nd of January? Because I'm not knowing that it was going to be so fast, I've got other things already,
You need to look in the calendar, yeah,
In
and we can tentatively say that we'd like it to be in the last week of January or the first week of February? And we'll,
That, legally, you only have to give 24-hour notice, right?
Yeah, don't worry about that part. That part's not hard
Okay.
at all.
We could
Maybe the
decide,
first 2 weeks of
we could do it, we could do it in the beginning of February quite easily.
Look at February
More
5th.
easily for me than now trying to fit it into January.
You can look at February 5th. I mean, that's a good day. It's a week before our open public
Okay.
meeting. I'll
Because-
be in Minneapolis Thursday through Monday. Coming back to work on the 4th.
all right,
So
I just,
there's not a lot of prep for me unless you want to have Kim Schmermetzler.
I mean, this is like the Washington State Broadband Office meeting schedule.
What day of the week, different days?
No, I think they're all like
They
Wednesdays,
all afternoons?
3:30.
Well, let's put it this way. Leases have waited for years. Waiting a few more weeks is not going to make that big a difference. What do you think? If we just decide all these details at the next meeting, as far as who's going where and what other meetings. Because once I picked a date for a workshop, I'll work all my other appointments around it.
Right, and then I think that's where I need to be, you know.
Because you
far
need
enough
to
in the
look at all
future.
your stuff too.
okay, how about we don't decide it today, but Chris and I are both available February 5th. Let's just say, let's all look at February 5th, and at the next meeting, we'll make a decision. Is that okay?
So I'll tentatively put it into my schedule, so I don't schedule.
And you can look at your
Yeah,
calendar.
yeah,
when you get home.
It's open.
Well,
Let's
Schedule it right now.
tentatively, but we
Okay.
could make a change.
well, yeah, we'll decide at the next meeting, for sure.
Yeah, but we're all making
And then
sure.
we can decide if we want to invite that guest or just watch his previous.
And then at each meeting, for another workshop, we'll decide at that meeting, the next topic and the next workshop date.
Yeah. Yeah, we need workshops. We need time when we can really get down. Look,
Dig through
look all the time that I wasted today.
So I just want to make sure I understand. So executive session on the 22nd. In the meantime, I'm gonna get you guys the presentation that Tim made as well as a link to the video if it exists. So you guys can watch and listen to the presentation that he made. And then on the next meeting, you want an agenda item to pick on workshop day. Topic. Oh,
Depending on the reliability of my own electronic equipment, if it's going to be that we look at this YouTube in advance, I can come down here and watch it.
you can watch it on your iPad, no problem. Click on the link over there.
Well, we'll see.
Maybe if
If
you,
not, you can come down, no problem.
Chris,
Put it up on the screen.
would you be able to find out if that is in one of our recordings and like the timestamp and?
Yeah,
send it
that's what I'm
out?
gonna do. I'm gonna send you guys the actual presentation, because I believe I have that.
Okay.
And then we're gonna try to find the actual meeting that took place, find the timestamp, so you can just fast forward to it.
Yeah,
And that's
send out that
the,
link and then
Yeah.
you could click the link on your tab or whatever you.
that works sometimes.
Okay.
It depends on a lot of different factors. My equipment is not new.
Okay.
My equipment is not new.
So,
And it works better sometimes others, but we're talking about that in February sometime, that workshop.
in these
We're talking about it on the 22nd.
That's the meeting.
in these workshops, we have morning meetings and we have afternoon meetings. Do we see workshops being one or the other time?
Depends on the date,
Okay,
doesn't it?
Free, February 5th. It could be morning or afternoon.
If I'm free, it's all day. I don't book two things in a day.
And Chris looks like he's free all day too.
Yeah, that'll be a good day. I'll be, yeah.
And I'll even wear my hearing aids.
so. So we're saying like tentatively 10 o'clock on the 5th.
Let's say that.
You'll validate that at the next meeting.
Okay.
Is that gonna be an agenda? item? It was just sort of-
I'll pencil that in.
But just,
tomorrow.
yeah, exactly. Pencil that in and then you guys can all, and then by then you'll have seen the presentation, hopefully watch the presentation, have an idea of where.
Okay.
And we'll pick a date and we'll do it.
And the topics that were covered in that presentation and the lease template haven't changed.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. I just want to give you guys examples to back up that, the whole idea of the delegation of authority and at least.
Yeah.
The thing that you guys will need to figure out at that workshop is what are our lease rates gonna go to? The board has not raised its lease rates in 5 years.
Yeah, how should we decide on lease rates?
How
Should we
you
do a
decide
study,
exactly.
a region, or
Yeah, there was a
should
study.
we
that was
compare
done.
it to all
Oh,
the
yeah.
whole Puget Sound or just for the
Island
county?
County,
Or how should we compare?
Yeah.
I remember the professional suggestion for lease rates.
Well, the first one got dismissed by all the tenants
Yeah.
and friends of the tenants. Then the board just came up with 86 cents over 3 years and we never even hit that, because COVID hit. We did a lease freeze.
I would listen to meetings at the top of my head.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
Okay,
We're
every-
set now for your evaluation.
what's that?
We're set for an executive session.
Yeah, I'll be on the 22nd. I'll put an ES on there for 30 minutes.
Okay.
So you guys come with, yeah, thank you guys. Come with whatever you want to come with.
Well, you
Okay.
won't get it.
Well, I'll be an executive session, right?
No, you're not in that.
Oh, I'm not in it? I thought a review involves me.
Yeah.
Oh, with Chris?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how it was done last time. I go in.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that what you had in mind? With Chris? He would be in the executive session to review his
No.
performance?
Yeah. That'd be, you know.
No,
this work,
how am I
that.
gonna, complain if he's there?
I gotta know what the complaints
I thought it was for us three to discuss freely with
Well,
nobody else in the room,
you guys
which we're
can-
not allowed, there's no other way for us to do that except in an executive session.
Right. If you're gonna review the performance of an employee or staff, it has to be an executive session.
Right.
Right,
Just-
but you stepped out of the room if you we felt like a need to have a candid discussion and then bring him back in.
Yeah,
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we can
I just thought a
review.
review is I'm in the room, you guys are telling me what's good and what's bad.
I think that
But
would
you
be
wanted-
after the
Okay.
private review.
I
So we
think
would do
need
another
to do it in
executive session,
private.
it's another,
Yeah, like how all of us talked about other employees sometimes
okay,
in confidence, you
Yeah.
know, in an executive session.
sure.
We
Yeah,
need
that's
to be
fine.
able to do that about you. It's just the.
Yeah, whatever you guys wanna do.
Yeah, but that's what I had.
Over the years, I've heard, other commissioners remark that it has not been done.
I think there's, yeah, I think that's,
I've only had one review in almost 8 years.
yeah. And then we would then could, still in executive session with Chris, bring him back in and
If we wanted
discuss
to,
with him ways to improve his performance or anything like
we
that.
might come up with some questions.
Yeah,
If we had questions after we've had our, we could always ask. He's not gonna go to town or something while we're doing it. He'll be here.
but not listening. And we have to yell.
After the.
I would leave the building, staff would leave the building, so you guys could sit right here. And we would pause every.
Well, we really did what they said this year. That's why we get one in there.
Slow from a beating or slow?
Either way. We won't tell you.
Jump right. That did sound a little weird, but we didn't want you in your review. I was like,
Well, there's two parts of it.
right.
Okay, enough of this.
All right.
We got another public, comment period.
We have no one
Is
attending.
there anyone else to comment?
They've all given up on us.
I think so. I guess this meeting is concluded at 12:37 p.m.
Wow.
What is this?